Okay. Hey guys, can you hear me? Are we live? I can't actually tell. Okay, are we live? Somebody tell me if you can hear me. If not, I gotta start fiddling with stuff. Good. Excellent. Hi. Welcome. Okay, so this is the live stream to celebrate 15,000 subscribers, which, wow, you guys are blowing me away with this. I've said thank you before, but I feel like I can never say enough thank yous. So, yeah, no one ever really, I think, gets into this expecting anything like this to happen. So, I'm going to do my best to keep my emotions in check during this stream, but we'll see. But yeah, this is just to hang out and to spend some time with you guys. And if there's anything you want to know or you want to ask or you want to talk about, I'm here for you, and I'm here just to spend some time. So if for some reason you can't hear me very well, if the levels get weird or whatever, just let me know. Otherwise, let's do this. So oh, thank you guys. Y'all are so sweet. I love reading your comments. And I do read the comments, generally. That game time the other day. Yeah, so as I'm sure you know from my posts, I am starting to dip into Twitch gaming a little bit. And it's been a mixed bag. I've been sponging off my friend Fluxy over at Twitch. His account is It's Fluxy, all one word, Fluxi. Because I wasn't sure it was something I was going to be comfortable doing, basically playing a game while people watch me and also having to monitor a chat and, you know, run the OBS and all that stuff. So he was already really good at it. So I was like, hey, can I game with you and see how this feels? And so he handled, you know, watching the chat and doing all the software stuff, and all I had to do was show up and play and talk, which I can do that. So, yeah, the first day wasn't so hot. We lost 5 out of 6 ARAMs on League, and it was a pretty brutal beating. In my defense, it was 6 a.m. when we started, so I'm going to say that I hadn't yet had my requisite 8 Diet Cokes for the day, and therefore I sucked. But yesterday we tried it again, and we went 10 for 10 on ARAMs. We cleaned house and got a couple of S's. The first one we actually won was a 4v5, which was indicative of good things to come, I suppose, and it went really well. So it was it was a lot of fun. So I'm getting more comfortable with it. I will activate, I mean, my channel's on there, I just haven't streamed to it or anything, but I will start doing that probably in the next week or two. After I probably do a few more with Fluxy and just kind of get more comfortable, because well, we'll see. The idea of watching a chat and also trying to give my attention to the game, you know, it's hard. It's more challenging, I think, than... And of course it depends on the game, too. Some games are a lot more chill. You can just play them and do other stuff. But League, I'm kind of a try-hard, and which is funny because I'm terrible, and I only play ARAMs because I don't want the pressure of anything else, and so I end up with some random champ. I hope it's somebody I can play, and I just try way too hard. So, oh, thank you for the sticker. Oh, that's adorable. Is it it's a pear. It's not an avocado. It's a pear. Oh, that is the cutest. Thank you, Artem. Okay, well, I'm going to try and keep up with the chat as best I can. If I lose anything or drop anything, I'm sorry. I'm trying to scroll back and make sure. You want me to say... I will definitely say that. Hey, sweetness. There you go. I said it. Have I beaten Ghosts of Tsushima yet? I have not played Ghosts of Tsushima yet. Yeah, there's so many great games out there, and I'm so afraid to get into really great games because I feel like I'm never going to come out again. That's why I like ARAMs. They're so quick, and your commitment level is just the length of one game, and then it's not some big campaign or some long story quest or anything like that, so I can dip back out again. If I could vacation in any video game world. Ooh. Probably Final Fantasy 14, because I've been playing that, and I like that. I like, the shops and the NPCs are kind of fun, some of them. So it's a nice sprawling world. I like sprawling worlds with a lot of different topography and a lot of interesting ecosystems and stuff like that. So, what else? Let's see. Try playing Jump Force. I have not, but I could look into it. Obviously, of course, I also played Biped recently, which I think we're going to do that again soon and do another video of that because that was some infuriating fun. That was... that game, it seems so deceptively simple. You just right and left click to move your little feet, and oh my god, was it challenging. And sometimes, and you can't, you just keep respawning every time you die. So it's not like you ever hit an endpoint. You have to keep playing until you get to the checkpoint. And it's like, sometimes you just want to have it like run out of lives. It's like, I'm done. But no. So, thank you for the super chat. Is that a super chat? See, this is the first time I've ever done super chats and stickers. So thank you, Martin. I appreciate that. Only 985,000 more until we take Florida. Yeah, the joke among the patrons is that when we hit 1 million subscribers, we're going to take over Florida. I don't know what we're going to do with it at that point. Maybe somebody's got some ideas, but okay, let me see, make sure I didn't miss anything. I apologize. I know this is going to be spotty. The chat tends to move faster than I talk, so I'm just trying to make sure that I don't miss anything. How long have I played League? A few years. Off and on. Like, I took very long breaks in between stuff, and sometimes I would get in a groove of playing maybe one ARAM a day, and then I would walk away from it, and I was never very good, so that kind of meant that one ARAM was generally frustrating, and then I would stop. But lately I've been playing a lot more. I've been trying to get more into it, and because I've got a lot of friends who play. So Pepsi Max, no Pepsi product is superior to Diet Coke. I'm just putting that out there. Just, no. And I will not be playing ranked. Sion, you know better than that. I'm not going to play ranked on the next stream. Never. Never, never. Do not try Jump Force. Huh. KK. I guess. All right. Yeah, the next goal probably will be about 20,000 subscribers, although we're almost to 16 now, so I apologize if this stream is a little bit late. It was hard to pick a time that would actually work for the schedules I had to juggle. So what do I think of FPS games? I haven't really played a lot in the way of FPS games. It's one of those things I kind of intend to do. I want to try Valorant and see how I do with that. but it seems like it might not be a good starter. I might get into Halo a little bit and see if I like that. There's a couple that I've been thinking of trying. Yeah, Artem, I know you asked about what movie character is least similar to me, and I think I answered this before, but I don't know if you were still around for the answer. It's not really a question I can answer because, I'm not a one-dimensional character, and neither are good movie characters. There's a lot of different personality traits and flaws and positive aspects and negative aspects and quirks and idiosyncrasies, and I feel like most of those are on a spectrum as opposed to a binary. So to say somebody is opposite or least similar, it's kind of, even if I could think of characters that I don't think I'm like, there will still be similarities in some ways, you know what I mean? So I just, and it's such a complex, like people are so complex that thinking of something being least similar, I really can't answer it. Like I spent some time thinking about it, and it was just people are too complicated to give an answer in that regard, at least for me. If you think there's a movie character that's least like me, then definitely let me know, because I'm curious what you think. So, I don't want Florida. I currently live in Florida, so I think that's why they want to take it over. It's because I'm already here, so it's convenient. My favorite game genre, as much as I complain about things like Biped, I do like the puzzle game stuff. I like the little challenges where you have to work with other people and make that work. So, yeah, I think that's fun. I have not played any Fire Emblem games. Let me scroll back up. I hate it when the chat does that. Grr. Okay. Biped 100% speedrun. There's no speedrunning in Biped because it's just, I waddle awkwardly. It doesn't move very quickly. So if I'm in an anime world, what would I be? I feel like I would just be like a student in a slice of life. Like I would not be the student in the second to last row over next to the window, the protagonist seat. I would be the one like next to the protagonist offering valuable exposition at key times, but otherwise being kind of useless. Yeah, Biped is both a meme in my world and a game. It's fun. If I could be a Pokemon, which one would I be? And Spoink is not allowed. Why is Spoink not allowed? Y'all know that's my favorite. It has to be Spoink. I refuse to abide by your rules. I reject your reality and substitute my own. I have not played any Assassin's Creed. I really haven't played much in the way of games, full stop. Like, it just hasn't really been on my radar much before. Am I planning on bringing Laurel back? Not anytime soon. I might. I still have her bag of shinies, which is a sock full of rocks and coins and stuff. But I didn't really have a direction I was going with that story. I was just sort of letting it run, and I didn't super love that voice, although it's not terrible. I guess I could always bring it back. But she's always on the back burner. Most of the characters are on the back burner. Eventually, like they could make a comeback if I'm feeling it, but if I'm not feeling it, that's a hard one to brute force a script for, because if I'm not in the right headspace, it's just not going to be a good, entertaining, fun script to do. So have I ever played Centipede on Atari? No, I have not. Wow. Hello CS:GO. No. Again, most games, not really. I've watched a lot of gameplay. I really enjoy watching other people play games. I like watching people play Rocket League and Elite Dangerous and Rainbow Six and Valorant and all kinds of things, but I just don't play them a lot myself. It's way more chill just to watch, I guess. I have not played Cuphead. I will not be playing Cuphead. I've heard that Cuphead is just maddeningly difficult, and that's the last thing I need to deal with right now. Oh, thank you for the super chat. Do I have any sneaky series cooking in the oven that you don't know? Yeah, I do. This coming Monday, I'm introducing a new character, and I hope you like her. And she will probably be a series. How do we know that you're not cake? You don't. You don't know that I'm not cake. What? You can't prove a negative. I could be cake. That'd be the awesomest cake ever, but no. Oh, bad jokes in the chat. I love it. Titanfall 2. Yeah, I know I probably should try Titanfall 2 just because the number of people that commented on the mech video about how it sounded like Titanfall 2, and I'm sitting there going, yeah, I've never played that. And yet somehow I managed to hit the nail on the head with the mech. So I probably should try it just to try it. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for the super chat. Your amazing voice and stories have soothed many a bad day. Oh, thank you. I'm glad I bring a little soothing and comfort and peace and whatever else to your life. That's all I can do, you know. I don't have many other skills, so this is what I do. What other games do I play except League? Final Fantasy 14. What else have I played lately? Oh gosh, obviously biped. I'm blanking. Sometimes I play just mobile games because I only have a few minutes and I'll be able to pull my phone out and I'll just play around on stuff like that, but nothing like Candy Crush or any of that stuff. That doesn't really do anything for me, and I avoid anything with microtransactions in it, so that rules out a lot of stuff. What is the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow? What do you mean? African or European swallow? What are your future projects? There are some future projects in the works. I don't know how much I want to tell you about them. But yeah, like I said, there's a new character coming Monday, and after that, I mean, who knows? There will always be future projects. That's a given. I will be working on either continuations of existing series, and of course, Vampire Roommate will never, ever, ever, ever go away. She's going to be a vampire grandmother by the time this is over because she's just so popular. Let's see. Favorite ASMR series to do? I apologize if there's noise. My neighbors are mowing the grass because it's Saturday and my timing is terrible. My favorite series to do, that changes. Like, sometimes I like them. I like how they turn out. Like, I really liked how the Alien one turned out. As far as, like, the story, I like how the story wrapped up. But I didn't super love doing it at the time because that voice was a challenge because it's very monotone, and I generally enunciate okay most of the time, but that really kind of pushed the limits of how well I could enunciate and speak quickly. Apologize, Diet Coke. You will hear plenty of Diet Coke, I'm sure, on the stream. Yeah, a lot of it. So I liked how the Alien turned out. As far as to do, Death was a lot of fun to do because I like to say pumpkin. Vampire Roommate's always fun to do because she's basically me with a blood addiction. They're all fun in different ways, and it's interesting to me how people react to them. Sometimes I don't expect people to care too much about things, and then something will blow up, and sometimes I'll pour my heart and soul into something and it won't get that much attention. And it's interesting. I really am terrible at predicting what people are going to like. So, you know what? That's a good opposite movie character for me. Anybody that drinks Diet Pepsi. You know what? Regular Pepsi, because it's both a Pepsi product and full of sugar. Favorite color and flower. My favorite color is purple, but a very close second is like a turquoise, which is kind of why the background, the thumbnail right now is what it is, because those are like my favorite colors. My favorite flower, there's a particular variety of rose that's kind of a light purple, almost a grayish purple color. It's called a sterling rose, and it's awesome. I love sterling roses. It's sort of like the grandfather of all purple roses. I think it started it all. So I do love sterling roses. Let's see. Smash Bros. Have not Smash Bro'd. Something in common with Jigsaw. See, here's the thing. Again, when you say a character most unlike me, like, what criteria are we talking about? Like, sure, I would like to say I don't have anything in common with a serial killer, but then again, can be charmingly manipulative on occasion. I mean, look what I do to my characters. I put them in boxes and poke them with a stick to see what they will do. Sounds a little Jigsaw to me. So, I mean, it's not always a terrible thing, but, and obviously I keep it to fictional characters, but it's very, you know, you can be unlike people in different ways and across multiple categories. So that's why I think it's just too complex a story, or too complex a question to answer simply. But I mean, devil's advocate, I could probably find something I have in common with most characters, as long as they're, you know, roughly human. Because I think we all could. You know, we're all complex creatures, and we all have ups and downs and goods and bads and flaws and stuff. So, I have not played Portal, but I've actually been considering playing Portal 2. And I've heard that about the co-op, that's a lot of fun. So that might be a fun one to try. Favorite Pokemon game? You know what? I haven't played. As much as I like Pokemon, I really haven't played a lot of Pokemon. I like the cards. I always liked the cards. I liked the TV shows. I liked Pokemon Go. I didn't play it too much. It almost seemed like it was coming out so fast. You know, when I was younger, there was always a new Pokemon game and only so much allowance money in the world. So yeah, let's see. Are some of the characters in your story in the same world or timeline? I mean, that's up to you. I kind of like to think that the mermaid is in the same universe as, like, the vampire roommate and stuff like that. But not, I mean, obviously there's not going to be any crossover there. But I would say that if you want them to be, they can generally inhabit the same universe. There's not a lot of reason they can't. It's a pretty crowded universe at this point. But, and timeline-wise, they're mostly all in the modern day. Except for Elf Bandit. Elf Bandit's the only one that's like, well, and the Scavenger, the post-apocalypse. But the Elf Bandit's in a different universe entirely, with like the fantasy aspect and everything. And so that is just a totally different universe and timeline. Scavenger could theoretically be in this universe, but a different timeline. You know, it could be way far in the future or something like that. So yeah, those obviously there wouldn't ever be overlap. But other than that, I mean, most of the modern day set type ones could probably just coexist fairly harmlessly. I'm opposite to Darth Vader. Am I, though? He made the right choice at the end. You know? Also, he loves a good cliffhanger. And could you not see me doing the whole, like, I'm your father, and then just ending the audio? I mean, really? You could see me doing that. Centaur ASMR. I've thought about it. That's a hard one to do as far as, like, how do you sound like a centaur? But I guess most of my characters just sound like me, so maybe I could. Yandere videos I'm working on. I am not working on any yandere right now. I generally don't like doing yandere. I did the imaginary friend ones because I thought that was kind of a cute fit. If you're going to have a yandere character in your life, it's the character that you thought you invented for yourself, but is actually there to protect you above all else and take care of you and, you know, conceivably chain you up if you can't take care of yourself. And that made a lot of sense to me, so I thought it was a fun yandere. But in general, I'm not super comfortable with yanderes. I don't like that extreme, you know, you belong to me, and if I can't have you, no one will kind of thing. Like, that doesn't appeal to me a whole lot. It's just a little too, I don't know, close to home to a point, I suppose. But it doesn't do much for me. So maybe I'll dip my toe back in that in October. Because again, I started this channel on September 30th of last year. So my whole first month was October, which is when all the VAs like to do the fun, creepy, more Halloween-y type themes. So a lot of my early stuff was creepy Halloween-y type stuff. And it was a lot of fun to do. And then I sort of settled into this more wholesome groove, which I really like. But I do intend to go back to some of the creepier stuff in October. So I may start planning, like every so often, either me or one of the patrons will have an idea about some cool story, and we're like, well, that'd be great for October. So I need to start like a file or something of all the different October storylines I could do. I mean, I don't want to abandon wholesome entirely. There will still be some wholesome stuff in October, because otherwise I'll alienate a lot of people. But if you could choose between the power of gravity manipulation and time manipulation, which would you choose? Ooh, probably gravity. I really don't want to mess with time. I feel like there's just too many things that could go wrong there, and I would definitely screw it up somehow. Would you consider playing any classic games? I mean, how classic are we talking about? I'm not going to play Centipede on an Atari. No. So, let's see. What's next? How do you come up with your characters and write your stories? What's your inspiration? Some of the characters are inspired by suggestions, like from my patrons or even just people in comments. I have a Discord for my patrons, and there's a channel there specifically for making suggestions for audio ideas. And so I will take all of them into account. I have a spreadsheet where I keep track of them. A lot of them just sort of pop into my head. Vampire Roommate was loosely inspired by a different VA making suggestions for things that would go well, but that was more of like I wanted to do a friends to lovers with a roommate, and I didn't want it to just be that because that sounded boring to me, so I wanted a vampire in it. But like the Blizzard one, I wrote that one because it was starting to get colder out. It was coming into winter, and I had this thought of, what would, again, putting people in a box and poking them with a stick. What would they do? The death one, again, that was just sort of how can I really frustrate a character? Like, I could play death. That'd be amazing. What would frustrate death? Oh, how about somebody that won't die? That's perfect. Like, stuff like that. They just sort of pop into my head, and I'm like, how can I make this infuriatingly fun for the characters involved? And like the alien, I think sprung in part, I can't remember if it was a suggestion or not, but I was, looking to do more sci-fi anyway. And I watch a lot of sci-fi, like Star Trek, Stargate, things like that. So that was an easy one to do. Not easy to do, but like to decide to do. Yeah, so sometimes they literally just pop into my head and make a home there. And it was like, okay. And sometimes I'll have a few ideas for characters that I'm not so sure I want to do, but they're promising. So I'll do like a poll for my patrons and say, which of these do you think I should do next, or which of these sounds like a good character to do? And they'll give me their input, and generally I'll go with it. If I don't have a strong feeling about it, I can take input from others and run with that. Oh, it popped again. Hold up, I gotta scroll. Scrolly. Okay, here we go. I've never played a Mega Man game, no. I've made it. Hey, Sam, welcome. I have not played the Final Fantasy VII Remake, but I watched a playthrough of it, and it looks beautiful. And I can't wait to see where they're going with it, because it does not look like it's going in the direction of the previous one. So, yeah. Will there be any more stories with Greco-Roman characters? Probably. I left Helen the way I did for a reason, so that we could revisit that universe eventually. Obviously, Loki's not Greco-Roman, but... And again, that mythology kind of ties me in knots a little bit, because it is so established and the stories have been told, so I have to work with the stories that have already been told and, tell my own stories based on that, and that puts me down this research rabbit hole of everything ever written about Greek mythology and Roman mythology. But it's fun still, and I do like how they turn out, so... She got the Monty Python. Would anybody not get the Monty Python reference? It's not obscure. No. Hit me with a Red Dwarf reference, then you'll probably stump me. Let's see. I know, I'm sorry, I'm kind of far back. Oh, thank you for the super chat. Here's lunch, you deserve it. Aw, now get that 50K. 50K, God, that sounds like it's far, far, far away. I guess we'll see. But thank you so much for that. That's so sweet of you. Do I have other ASMR channels that I like? Of course. I mean, I think most people that are in this got into it because they listened to other channels first and were like, this is amazing. How can I be part of this? Yeah, for ASMR, I like Gentle Whispering, Maria. She's so good. I've talked about her before, but I highly, highly recommend her channel. Tony Bomboni, Fred's Voice, Ephemeral Rift, Goodnight Moon, Angelica. Angelica's my favorite for just the humor aspect. She does the craziest stuff, and I love it. I love it so much. As far as like other VAs, I think I've said this before, I don't listen to a lot of other VAs anymore because I don't want to accidentally be influenced by their stories and their styles. Like, I want to make sure my voice is my own and that I'm not, I don't want to inadvertently copy something because I heard it somewhere and forgot that I did. It's just not something I want to accidentally do. So, I played Castlevania. No. Can I come over and steal all your Jaffa cakes? No, buddy, you may not. You may not have my Jaffa cakes. Have you ever thought about doing a British character? I can't do a British accent. I couldn't do the character without the accent, right? Unless I am an American British character. Yeah, that's a thing. I just happened, I guess Kevin Costner in that Robin Hood movie he did was an American British character, I suppose. I don't know, that was garbage. Yeah, ASMR channels I'd recommend it. Yeah, definitely Gentle Whispering in those that I just said. Those are so worth it. There's nothing wrong with sugar, Sam. Sugar is amazing. I don't like to drink my calories. So Diet Coke for life. And that way I have more room in my diet for sugar I can eat, like Jaffa cakes. Which ones did I really love but didn't do well? I mean, I wouldn't say any of them didn't do well, per se. It's just, they all do okay. I think it's more about like the initial, and I would have to go back and actually check my analytics to remember exactly which ones. But there have been a few times where I would watch, like I'd post something and I would watch the analytics and go, I really thought that would, pop a little more. And then, they always do okay. And sometimes it has a lot to do with like what time of day the videos go live, stuff like that. All that stuff influences how well they do, at least for the first several hours. Would I bring back a resolved series or standalone using a new listener character? It would depend on how I could swing it, because I try not to, and it's sort of like how I've been asked before if I would do like a different character in the same universe, like if I would do a registry official in the Vampire Roommate universe. And the answer to that is always no, because I feel like that would just make it confusing if I was voicing more than one character in the same universe. But with a different listener character, I'm not sure. That's a possibility. I'd have to find a way to make it very clear without it just being an exposition dump. But, I might be able to. Pepsi or Coke? Coke! Diet Coke for life. I don't know. I love Diet Coke, not just because I was raised on it, although I was, but it stays carbonated for a really long time, so I can nurse one like all afternoon. Whereas like the Pepsi products, to me, they go flat really fast. And I don't know, I just like the taste. Have I tried Detroit Become Human? Again, I have watched playthroughs. That was the game that was that inspired the Cuddling While You game audio the other day, like last week. That was Detroit Become Human that I was thinking of when I wrote that. Favorite car? Ooh. That's tough. I mean, I'm not really a car person as long as it kind of gets me from point A to point B, but I currently drive like a small SUV, and I like it because I've got dogs, and so I like to be able to take the dogs to the vet or, whatever. If I need to evacuate for a hurricane or something, I can throw the dogs in the car and go. So I would generally need space for that reason. But yeah, I'm perfectly happy with my little 4-cylinder mini SUV. It gets me around. Do not send me tons of sterling roses. Do not do that. Let's see. Sion, if I was a serial killer, do you think that we would be friends? I mean, what does that say about you? Really? I did eat someone as a demon. That was one of the few times I've killed a listener, was the demon eats you audio. And to be fair, I kind of dug it. I think there are more trigger warnings on that audio than any of the other ones I've done. What's the mystery of life? I don't know what the mystery is, but the meaning is 42. Do I draw each new avatar for the thumbnails, or do I ask someone else to do it for you? The art in the thumbnails is all commissioned. I go out and I find artists who are hiring or open for commissions, and I commission them to do my art for me. I generally tell them green eyes, brown hair, and I give them a general idea of like the theme of the channel, and then I kind of let them do what they want. And so far, I have not been disappointed. I like all the different art styles. I've got a new one coming out soon. Actually, I just got the final art on that a couple of days ago, actually. So when the next switch happens, I've already got her ready to go. And it's going to be a completely different style from the previous ones again. And I love doing that. I absolutely love mixing up the art style and just trying different stuff. And I love giving some love to artists who do commissions and do such a great job creating art. I mean, I could never do that. So the superhero doesn't fit in, oh, hey, Flexi. Superhero doesn't fit in the universe either. I don't know. I mean, yeah, I guess people having superpowers doesn't really fit into the greater universe of the mythology stuff. But, oh, thank you. Thank you for your vids. I have severe inferiority feeling issues and can't listen to any girlfriend audios anymore. But your audios are different. They calm me down. Oh, thank you. I guess M3 Red GT. That's a cool name, actually. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'm glad my audios help you. Oh, what's up? Let's see. Is there going to be a myth alignment today? Yep, I will put that out after this is over. Of course there will be a myth alignment today. It's Saturday. Let's see. Oh, no, Sam. I mean, you could say I'm the opposite of Darth Vader, but I'm not Jar Jar Binks. You can't put that on me. Don't put that mojo on me. I am not Jar Jar Binks. Never. Okay. Will Shapeshifter make a return? Yeah, she probably will. I gave her a name. Generally, when I give the characters names, that means I intend to bring them back. Obviously, Vampire Roommate's an exception. She will never have a name, and I like it that way. But the others, yeah, if they have names, they can stick around. And that's not a hard and fast rule, but so far it seems to be the case. If I bother to name them, they'll bring them back. So I could sound like a centaur by banging two halves of coconuts together. Yeah, so as long as the African swallow brings me the coconuts, I can do that. Pirate ASMR. I've actually been asked about that before, and I might look into it. That's another one that I would have to, because I'm such a pain in the ass where research is concerned, I would probably go to the trouble of, learning everything I could about 18th century pirate practices and, another research rabbit hole, but it sounds like a fun one. Am I planning to do another superhero video or a sequel to Healing the Superhero? Yeah, that's another one that's like, I wrote it as a one-off, but I left it for a reason on that sort of open end so I can come back to it. I like having the option of going back to some of these stories and playing with them some more. I don't ever want to completely end a series to the point where there's no way to take it any further, because you never know. I might be feeling it. I might be just like, hey, you know what? We haven't done in a while. Let's go and check on that. And, it gives me some flexibility in that way. But yeah, right now there isn't one on the schedule for that. All the October audios for the next 7 years are going to be planned by the end of August. You are not wrong, Sion. We have so many creepy ideas floating around. They're so great. Your wholesome stuff is the most Thank you. I'm glad you like my wholesome stuff. I am a painfully wholesome person in real life. I don't know why. I can be kind of a cynical, sarcastic person. I can be very snarky, but deep down I'm very optimistic. I'm very positive. I am always looking at the bright side, sometimes to my detriment. Sion, stop it. You're on the Discord. Otherwise, you're the wrong Sion and you shouldn't be here. Okay, where are we? I'm going to click my thumb while I scroll because I just lost it again. Okay, there we go. Supreme Donut. First time on the Milestone live stream. Welcome. Do I plan to collaborate with any other VA YouTubers? I've already done it a few times. I did a collab with Pine Cat Audio, where I played a Neko, a very wide-eyed, innocent Neko who believes in things like love. And I just did one with Vixie Voice, the superhero or the superstar experience, that dropped I think yesterday. And so that's going to be an ongoing series. I'm going to play Christina throughout that one, so that'll be fun. And I think there's a couple others in the hopper. I don't like talking about them until they happen, but yeah, I'm always open to collabs. I have yet to start one myself where I write the script and actually do all the editing. Right now, I kind of like being in other people's because then I can read the script and I like it and I can submit my part and not have to do as much as I enjoy the finished result of audio editing. The during part can sometimes be, it's exhausting. You've got 8 or 9 different channels going of different sounds and stuff, and just trying to mix it all properly. Death one was really creative and original. Thank you. I'm glad you liked the Death character. I did like the Death. I liked Ceci a lot. And I liked how that sort of unspooled. And to be honest, I from the very beginning, I was thinking this is just some bureaucratic, because in the back of my head, I was sort of thinking like the Beetlejuice universe, like the afterlife being this like maze of bureaucracy and office space and cubicles and stuff, and people being bad at their jobs. So that's sort of where that came from. But I like how it turned out. Vampire Roommate is my favorite. Yeah, Vampire Roommate's a lot of people's favorite. I like her. At what point do I consider an idea or story bad? I don't really think of any ideas or stories as bad necessarily, but I think more practically as far as like, how can I deliver this? Like, for example, if someone wanted me to do like an action, like a high action type scene with fighting and shooting and stuff like that, that would be incredibly hard to do because of the soundscape. Like, it's just that much movement in a one-sided audio is very difficult. So I'm extremely constrained by this format. It's just my voice and whatever other sound effects I can scrape together. So there's just so much I can do. And so really it's not so much about ideas being bad, it's about just what am I capable of producing. And there's a few things that I've never been super comfortable with, like I get a lot of requests for werewolf audios, and I've just never been super comfortable doing a werewolf. I don't know why. I mean, I love my dogs, but I guess I'm not sure how to do it in a way that doesn't sound silly or just weird. But I might play with that, give it a shot. More sci-fi stuff. Yeah, I'm already thinking of some more sci-fi stuff I want to do. I'm trying to be a little more creative in that way. Would I 1v1 Fluxy in League? I'd kick his ass, please. Come on. Have I ever turned anyone into a newt? Just the once, but he got better. Let's see. Disney World field trip when? I love Disney World. I don't live that close to it. Florida's a big, long state, but before the pandemic, I would try to get down there like once a month and just, walk around, have some food, stuff like that. I have an annual pass. I'm not going to go right now. It scares the crap out of me. But yes, Sam, an American with a British sweet drawer and charming British grandparents. Your Nana and Granddad are going to love me, I swear. I'm going to charm them to the point where they will not mind a random American taking their sweets drawer. It's going to be great. Have you ever listened to Night Blossoms? I have not, but I will look that up. What would happen if Diet Coke no longer existed? Well, see, if that happened, I imagine it would be end times, and I think we'd have bigger things to worry about. Probably. What else? Any chance of roleplay is based directly off of film or video game universes? No, and that is because I don't like to use intellectual property that I did not create. I don't like to use existing characters, stories, universes, any of that stuff. I don't know if there's actually a problem with that from a legal standpoint, but I mean, I am monetized, and I don't ever want to run the risk of stepping on any toes. I have a lot of respect and love for a lot of those existing universes and those characters, and I don't ever want to sponge off that, I suppose, especially when the writing is some of the most fun that I have with it, because I am a writer. And so getting to write my own stories and tell my own stories and create my own characters is one of the best things about this channel. So I really don't need to necessarily slide into some other universe. I can make my own. And when I make my own, I can make my own rules for it, which is that much better too. So, let's see. Do you remember your experiment role play? I probably would not do an SCP audio. And again, I don't like to say never on anything, but that's a probably a no. Do I know JoJo's Bizarre Adventure? I haven't watched it, but I feel like everybody I know has watched it. And if you watch the biped video over on Flexy's channel, he put a lot of JoJo references into that. So, yeah, JoJo seems very popular. I watch a lot of anime, but I just don't watch JoJo. So, do I have a favorite song? Not just one. I mean, songs, what you want to listen to varies so much by your mood and what you're doing. I mean, when I'm exercising or when I'm just chilling or when I'm driving or whatever, I don't listen to music generally while I'm writing. It's distracting to me. I have to focus. But yeah, I like a lot of different songs. I tend to tweet, like, whatever I'm listening to in a given night. If I listen to a song and I go, you know what, I'm going to tweet that. then I will do that. So if you go look at my Twitter history, there's a lot of tweets with songs that sort of paints a picture, I think, of the kind of stuff I listen to. Have I thought about doing blind or disabled comfort role plays? Yeah, that's something I could consider doing. In general, I prefer to do stuff that I have either some experience with personally or I know people that have experience with, because I don't want to accidentally insult anybody or offend anybody or do a poor job of supporting somebody that needs that kind of support. And that's one of the reasons I haven't done anything specifically for, say, like suicidal thoughts and stuff like that, because even though I have had friends who have gone through that and it has been a struggle, I'm not a psychologist, even though I studied psychology. I majored in psychology in school. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not an expert. I'm not qualified to offer actual medical advice. And, I can certainly be there for people, and I love being there for my friends and supporting them whenever they need me. But some things are large and important and heavy enough that they need more intervention than I can provide. And I will keep making comfort audios for aspects of things like anxiety and panic attacks and insomnia and just having a rough day, sadness, things like that I hope can be applied across a pretty broad spectrum of negative feelings and stuff that will sort of help pick you up regardless of what specifically is bringing you down. But for things that are like a clinical, this needs an actual assessment type thing, I don't necessarily feel comfortable touching on that because I am not an expert in that regard. And so like for the blind and disabled comfort, I would want to speak to people in those communities and make sure that I do it justice, make sure that I do a good enough job with it. So I might look into that. I might start seeing if I can reach people in those communities and see what I can do. But, oh, did you just donate again? M3 Red GT. The lack of donation surprises me. It's not mandatory. Oh, you're so sweet. Yeah, I know Austria does not have kangaroos. I know. I know my Austrias from my Australias. I'm pretty sure. I mean, I'm American, but I'm not that American. So thank you so much, though. I appreciate that. That's so sweet. The demon audio is the only one where we get eaten. It's not the only one where I kill you, but it's the only one where the listener gets eaten. So, and there probably will be more killing in October just because it's fun. I think I'll do much more darker audios like the demon one. Again, October, probably. I just don't feel like I should really do that too much before. Maybe I'll do a little bit. Maybe not that hard, though. Myth alignment. Yeah, I like the myth alignments, actually. They're short and sweet and helpful, I hope. Why doesn't Vampire Remake have a name? A couple of reasons. One, when I first wrote it, I didn't anticipate it being a series. That was absolutely going to be a single episode, one-off, friends to lovers with a vampire in it, and call it a day. They got together. Isn't that adorable? And when it got so popular and people really liked it, it was like, well, okay, I guess I can go forward with it. And I just couldn't think of a name for her that I was comfortable with. And plus, where we enter the story in the very first episode, they already know each other. There's no introduction. So there's not a comfortable place to drop her name, and I'm not, how I am with dialogue. If it's not a natural flowing dialogue, I'm not on board with it. So she's not going to just say her name to somebody she's been living with for X amount of time. So it just didn't really, between the fact that I couldn't come up with a good name and the fact that there was never a good place to drop it, I thought, I don't really need to do this. She can just not have a name, and that's amazing. And people can just imagine, and people have asked that before, and I'm like, whatever you want her name to be, do it. That's, in your mind, that's her name. Just like how she looks. It's whatever you have in mind for her, that's amazing. And I'm great with it. I kind of like it this way. Let's see. Any plans for an urban nymph sort of audio? I mean, the water nymph is close. She's kind of what I imagine the urban nymph to be, except, in the water. But personality-wise, she's what I imagine. So, oh, thank you for the sticker. Aw, thank you, Sean. I love that sticker. Look at that little dude. Okay, that's cute. That's amazingly cute. Thank you so much. That's so sweet. So yeah, an urban nymph audio, I mean, I feel like an actual urban nymph would just be getting her Starbucks and walking through the city and just checking on random stuff. She'd basically be a person. You wouldn't know any different. So like the image, the thumbnail with the girl in the sweater with the scarf, like that's kind of what I imagine her looking like if she was actually just like walking through a city taking care of her stuff. So could you give a slight spoiler for the new character? Sure. She can fly. There you go. Let's see. Smart idea to make everything a potential series. I know, right? Unless somebody flat out dies, there's not really a way to not make it a series. Anything is a series if you're brave enough. Does your SO know your YouTube channel already, or was that video really fictional? In that audio, that conversation was fictional, but the story I tell about why I got into it, that was the truth. So like that's the actual history of the story. It's just that conversation did not happen. No. But yeah, the channel itself came about through just a series of events of me listening to things and then writing things and then saying, why the hell do I not just try these things? So probably kill more people in October just because it's so fun. Go to the stream. Thank you so much, Scott. I appreciate that for the super chat. Okay. I didn't know you did collabs. Where are they listed? I generally tweet the collabs, and sometimes I make YouTube community posts about them. But right now it's just so far there's one on Pine Cat and there's one on Vixie, and I think that's the only ones that are published so far. So, but yeah, watch my Twitter if you want heads ups about those. Heads up about those. What is the plural of heads up? Head uppins on that. You and the listener rescue Lumpy from evil Luke Skywalker audio went, Sam, do we need to rescue Lumpy? I mean, Lumpy killed a guy. Does he deserve to be rescued? Was there an inspiration for Vampire Girlfriend, or was it something you came up with completely on your own? Okay, so the story behind this, and some of you have heard this, but I'm going to tell it again because I know we got a lot of new faces here. When I first got into this, I was listening to other VAs a lot, and one guy was doing a live stream, just a chill, like chat with a fans live stream, and somebody asked him, what character should I do if I want my channel to be successful quickly? Something like that. And he said, Yandere Vampire. And he said it without hesitation, like it was his instant answer. And at the time, I was like, that's hilarious. Like, of course, Yandere Vampire, it's like Twilight. But the more I thought about it, I was like, the vampire thing is not a terrible idea. Like, I kind of like that idea. But the way I like to do things is to take these mythological characters and just put them in regular, everyday, modern, mundane lives. Because in my mind, that's kind of how things would go down. If dragons were a thing, we'd find a way to domesticate them and keep them in our houses. If vampires were a thing, they would have to get jobs just like everybody else because, you have to earn your living. So, I mean, that's how I like to think of these characters, is that they're integrated into our world and have been for a while. And so, and like I said before, I'm not into the Andre thing at all. But at the time, I was mulling that Friends to Lovers roommate script that I had kind of already written in my head and trying to figure out a way to make it more interesting. And that's when I was like, well, why don't I do the vampire there and see how that goes? And wow, did that go. So yeah, that's where that came from. Was the mermaid your only Soon character? I mean, really early I did a Soon that's like a tutor at a writing center, but that was more just an excuse to to make the listener feel bad about their grammar choices, I think. So yeah, I'll probably do some more Soons. The water nymph is kind of a Soon. She's not super Soon or anything like that, but she's snarky enough to be all like, I don't like you. Psh, whatever. So yeah. How long do you let pretzel chicken rest before serving? Not long. Anything you fry, you don't want to let it rest too long because you lose that nice crispiness that the frying does. As the moisture redistributes through the breading, or in this case, the pretzel breading, it gets, soggy. So that's why you have to eat fried things fairly quickly. Jetpack is best character. I mean, you're entitled to your opinion. Can I suggest a Queen of Hell looking for love ASMR? Yeah, I do need to try and play a little more villainous type stuff. It's hard to make that mesh with my wholesome vibe, but villains are more fun to play. I mean, hands down, villains are more fun to play. And I think that's why even my good characters tend to be a little sassy, because good is, to some degree, a little boring. So I'll see what I can do. Have I thought of doing an audio where you and the listener are on opposing sides of a war? An actual war, that'd be kind of difficult because, I mean, first of all, it would have to be like a historic war because current wars are not fought face to face, so we never see each other. Maybe, again, you get the obstacles of sound effects for things like war. But I could certainly think about it. That sort of on the wrong side or on opposite sides of a conflict thing is definitely something I should explore. I kind of touched on it with the roommate, with the listener being part of the organization that she's trying to take down. That's about as close as I've come to the real conflict for that sake kind of thing. So, is Scavenger finished? Who doesn't love Disney World? I love Disney World. Oh, M3 Red GT back with a super chat. Will Elf Bandit continue for much longer, or do you plan to end the series anytime soon? And what about the Scavenger? Elf Bandit's got a few more in there as far as like regular, because again, these characters will probably come back, just not as regularly. I do the fantasy and sci-fi stuff only on Mondays. I don't know if you picked up on the pattern, but Mondays are the fantasy and sci-fi things. Thursdays are the girlfriend experience, the friends to lovers, the meet cutes, things like that. And Saturdays are the myth alignments. So I only have a few Mondays a month to play with these stories and either extend an existing storyline or start a new one. And Vampire Roommate takes one of those spots every month. So that leaves me with however many I've got left. But yeah, the Elf Bandit's got at least one or two left before I decide to, I mean, with the direction I'm taking it anyway, before I decide to let it sit. It won't be wrapped up completely because obviously I like to leave those open a little bit. And the Scavenger, yeah, the last one I deliberately sort of left at a place where I could stop for a little bit on that, but I do plan to come back eventually. I'm just giving that one a break. Your channel remain wholesome as it is. Yeah, no lewd content. I'm never going to be the lewd content person. There's plenty of people doing that as it is, and people that are doing it seem to be doing it really well if their followings are any indication. So, you know, I'm glad that there's a space for that. I'm glad that people enjoy that sort of content. I've just never really been the type to produce it. Some things are just a little personal. What kind of dogs do I have? I have 2 mutts. They're both rescues. One's a chocolate lab Springer Spaniel mix. So he's like smaller than a full-size lab and very like fuzzy. His ears and his tail are very fuzzy from the Spaniel. And he's very, very old. He's like 14. And then I have a little red like pocket-sized pit bull that was a rescue off of one of the Caribbean islands during a hurricane. They were able to send in some rescues to get some dogs off the islands, and I'm not sure she was ever a pet before she came to live with me. She may have just been a street dog. She had definitely had puppies before, but we don't know what happened to the puppies. She's been shot twice. She's got 2 pieces of bullet fragment under her skin in different spots. She's spoiled completely rotten, and she's fat because I felt bad for her, so I have pampered the hell out of her. And on the Patreon Discord, we call her the princess because that is what she is. She is 100% the little red princess. I occasionally post pictures of her to my Instagram. I can't remember if I tweeted her or not, but she's on my Instagram, so, which I think is Urban Nymph 2019. It's my Instagram, which I don't post a lot to Instagram because obviously this is an audio format. Instagram is a very visual medium, but I do use it on occasion. Every few days I'll post something. So, what sort of music inspires you in making my audios? I wouldn't say music is actually a super inspiration for me. I love music. I love listening to it, like when I'm walking the dogs or when I'm driving or whatever, but I don't really use it as inspiration. I use it to sort of settle into myself and to sort of drift. Like I let the music do the thinking for me, if that makes any sense, which it probably doesn't. Oh, thank you. You're amazing too. Will I ever do a face reveal? Nope, I won't. Sorry. I like it better this way. If you knew what I looked like, then that would make you see all my characters differently because you would see them as me and not as the characters they are. This is better. This way you can picture anything you want. Anything at all. Have I considered doing another mystery series? Yeah, I mean, stories like that are fun to tell. And I probably will. I need to sort of unspool that in my head. some of the characters I'm sort of planning for, there's always going to be like the first episode is getting to know the character, getting to know the universe, learning what the rules are, learning how people interact, things like that. So the first episode is frequently just a wash. It's an exposition wash. After that, who knows? A lot of these copyright holders feel like their toes have been stepped on very quickly. Yeah. And you know what? If somebody was stealing my intellectual property or making stuff off of it without asking me first, like, I'd probably be annoyed too. I do have, like, some of my fans will make art or, fan fiction and stuff like that based on my characters, and that's totally fine because they're not, they're just doing it for fun. They're not making money on it. They're not, and then generally they ask me first, and I'm always cool with it. But if, someone like me who's monetized comes along and just is like, oh, I like that character someone else made, yoink, and it's like, it's not cool. I'm not going to do that. Love those JoJo edits on Flexi Gaming. Yeah. I think he puts JoJo edits in most of his videos. Flux, I'm sure you can confirm, but yeah, JoJo edits for life. Dubbed or subbed. Depends on the anime. I mean, right now the ones I'm watching are mostly subbed. I have watched dubbed in the past for some things, but when I watch dubbed, it's usually because I want to have it on in the background while I'm doing other stuff and still be able to enjoy it. So, it's a convenience thing. I mean, I like subbed, but of course you can't really be doing anything else because you have to be reading the screen. So, favorite league champ. Ooh, that depends. Like if I'm tanking, I like Mundo. If I'm support, I like Soraka. I like Sona. I like Morgana for support or otherwise. AP, I like Brand and Rise a lot. I like Zyra quite a bit, even if she inadvertently makes me a kill stealer because I can't make the plant stop shooting, even if I want to. Yeah, I have lots of favorites. And I'll play most anything. I won't play it well, but it's an ARAM, so I get what I get. Let's see. Greetings from Edinburgh. Oh, greetings. I would donate a bunch. Killing me. I'm not going to kill the listener a lot. I mean, obviously I've only done it a couple of times, even with October being a thing already. So, this October, and maybe I'll have the listener be the killer. Maybe I'll be the victim. I mean, I know I did that before with the cliched horror movie victim who does everything wrong. But, we could do that again. We could do another where the listener is the killer. That could be fun. Naruto or Dragon Ball? Neither. I haven't seen either. I know my anime experience is limited, I suppose. I mean, I watch a lot of anime, but I don't seem to watch the ones people like the big. Like I haven't watched One Piece. I haven't watched Fairy Tail. I haven't watched Naruto or Dragon Ball. Like there's a lot I haven't watched that are big, but I've watched other things. I watched My Hero Academia, and I mean I just watched a bunch of random anime. Favorite genre of music and favorite artist. Again, I don't really have a favorite genre. I don't like country. That's like my least favorite. But other than that, I'll listen to just about anything. And I don't really have a favorite artist either because, again, it's like a mood thing. Sometimes I'm in the mood for this, sometimes I'm in the mood for that. Vampire roommate's name is Ree. Sure, why not? I mean, that's whatever your headcanon is. Let's see. The nymph of the Starbucks, yeah. See, this is how far back I am in the chat, as I'm just getting the stuff about the urban nymph. It's amazing to see how many people I have supporting me. It is amazing. I mean, honestly, I'm blown away by the people that support me. You guys are so incredible, and I never expected anything like this, so. How about an Orion and Artemis audio? Again, that's the rabbit hole of research I'd need to go down. But I mean, obviously mythological characters are exempt from the whole don't do other characters that have already been done because they are not under any sort of copyright and they are mythology, not like comic books or something. Let's see. I do have a kickboxing ASMR. What's my setup like? I do record in a closet. Of course, closets are great. They have no vents in general. They are very well insulated with clothes. So yeah, I highly recommend a closet. I've also got some like soundproof foam tacked to the walls around my immediate recording space. I have a Rode desktop condenser mic with the built-in pop filter and all that good stuff. I use Audacity for the audio edits. I use Lightworks for the packaging. I use Photoshop for the thumbnails. And I've got a couple of little portable mics that I occasionally, like a lavalier mic and stuff like that, that I will use if I need to, because I've got an app on my phone. It's like an HD voice recorder app that I can use when I go out to get like the sounds of nature, the sounds of, wherever I am. If I decide I want to get some ambient noise or something, I can do that. So, oh, thank you. I'm a blind person. If you need someone to check out your script, I'd be happy to. Yeah, I mean, if you want to, my email is in my about, but it's urbannymph2019@gmail.com. If you have suggestions for a comfort audio for blind people, that would be absolutely amazing. Or really anybody that's got some experience, some direct experience with various, impairments or anything at all that you think there should be a comfort audio for because you personally deal with it and you're like, damn it, I want a comfort audio for this. Like, please feel free to email me and let me know what you think. I can't guarantee, obviously, that I can do it, but if it's something that I'm comfortable with and it feels like, there'd be a good fit, then yeah, I will certainly look into it. I'm happy to explore a whole variety of comfort. I mean, that's what I'm here for. So, ASMR is too hard. I'm too loud of a person. Yeah. I don't do a lot of traditional ASMR, frankly. I'm going to be trying to do a little more. I've got actually a goal on my Patreon right now. If I reach 175 patrons, I'm going to do 3 patron exclusive audios that are strictly ASMR, like traditional ASMR, tapping, whispering, up close to the mic type stuff. I have no idea how it's going to turn out, but I figure I get enough requests for it that if I hit that goal, yeah, I'll give it a shot. I'll see how it goes. Maybe I'll be good at it. Gorgon woman with a blind friend or lover. Yeah, maybe. Didn't the Gorgons... Well, I mean, yeah, the only way they could be with somebody is if they're blind. I get you. All right, I'm with you now. I'm with you. I was thinking, but wait, stone. Oh, wait, you have to be able to see her to turn to stone. Wow. My brain is not on today. What do you think about Germany? I mean, I don't usually think about Germany, but when I do, it seems like a nice enough place. A lot of my family is from there, so... let's see. The girlfriend experience is not a very wholesome way of wording it. In the community, that is kind of what it's called. If it's an audio where you're playing a girlfriend, it's like a girlfriend experience. I realize there's other meanings for that, but the GFE is kind of it's a tag for audio role plays where there's a girlfriend. So, what type of music am I into? All of it except country. Pretty much. Let's see. Oh, I'm just not getting to the responses about my dog being shot. Yeah, who shot a dog? Great question. Like I said, I think she was a street dog. Like I said, I don't know what all happened to her other than just what's left behind. And she was also heartworm positive when I got her because she'd never been on any sort of preventative. And by the time I got to her and started treating that, her heart had been damaged from the heartworms. And so she's in congestive heart failure, and she will always be. So she's on a variety of prescription medications. But you know what? She lives a totally normal life. She can run and jump and smack me around, and we go for long walks and stuff like that. I mean, she does hit her threshold of how much she can do pretty quickly. Like, she'll start panting, and there have been times I've had to carry her home from walks, which... She's a pudge, man. She's like 55 pounds of roly-poly little fat pit bull. But but she's fine. When they first diagnosed her, they didn't think she would live any more than maybe a few more months from when I got her. And now it's been a couple of years and she's still going strong. So I don't have any concerns that she's going anywhere anytime soon. Let's see. They listen to Juice WRLD. I don't know what that is. Have you considered doing an audio where you're on a holiday with your SO? I mean, I did the one where there's that misunderstanding about the text that your SO gets, or that my SO gets. on the way to a vacation. That's the closest I've come to it. I know I could. It would just be just a regular like girlfriend or comfort type thing, but I could certainly do that. Let's see. Do you have any long or special series you already have in mind that you want to do one day? I mean, there's a couple, like, it's hard to know sometimes going in if they're going to be long. Like, some I will go into knowing they're going to be a series. How long they're going to be is something else entirely. Like, sometimes I don't really know, or if it's even going to work. So, Chris Audios. I have an audio RP channel too. Can I have some pointers? Thank you for the super chat. Number one thing is the writing, like hands down. If the writing isn't good, the audios will not be solid. You have to write. If it's a role play channel where you're speaking, like having conversations, you have to write like people talk, like you have to. And it's so challenging because you have to do it in a way that conveys both sides of a story or both sides of a dialogue, but you can only say one side. And it's a huge challenge. You cannot you don't want to be that person that just repeats back what the other person says, because that's jarring. Nobody talks like that. You don't want to be the kind of person that says somebody's name over and over again, because again, nobody talks like that. I mean, I find the people that are closest to me in my life, I've hardly ever said their names out loud, because when we talk, we just talk, you know, like it's almost awkward when I talk about them to somebody else because I say their name and it's like, oh yeah, that's their name. Like it doesn't come up in conversation with that person. So you have to be as natural as you can. And I like when I do it right, because every so often I'll get a comment from somebody who will basically say that they've been like listening and they've been responding in their head as I talk, and they've been responding, I guess, the way that I have been sort of expecting them to, I guess, it's for lack of a better way to, I'm not really sure if I'm wording that right, but you know what I mean? Like, as the dialogue is spooling out in their head and they're hearing my side, they're saying things back and then I'm responding as though they said the right thing, I guess, is how I need to word it. And that sometimes surprises them. They're like, oh, wow. And I'm like, yeah, that was the point. Like, I'm trying to make sure that it's pretty clear what you're saying in response, but it's not painfully obvious, beat you over the head with it type stuff. So the writing is absolutely key. The other thing too is that you have to be very careful not to rush. If you've got a plot in mind, like you're following a story and you know where the story's going, you know what you want to get to, it can be really hard not to rush it. Like you really want to get to that end point of the cool stuff. Whatever the plot is, whatever the climax is, you want to get to that cool stuff. But you cannot rush it, because you have to establish who these people are, why we should care about them, what is at stake, what are the stakes in this story, what's the want versus need, what are the things that are motivating this story, why does anybody care, why do these characters care about what's happening. And you want to take people on a journey with you, like it's not a sprint. And if you only spend a couple of sentences of people getting to know each other and then suddenly they're supposed to be in love, well, it's not very realistic. And again, your mileage may vary. I know some channels don't necessarily go for realism, they go for extreme wish fulfillment. You get exactly that payoff you want very quickly, and that's fine. But in the way I write and the way I like to tell stories is that the payoff has to come because it's earned. You are planting a story and you want that payoff to be something satisfying that comes from having woven this tapestry around it. And then two, the world building. You want the world you're building to make sense. And it can make whatever sense you want in the context of what you're doing. Whatever story you're telling, you make the rules. It's your universe. But then once you've made the rules, you have to stick to them, and they have to make some sense in universe. Otherwise, it's kind of a head scratcher. So, yeah, those are my tips. But really the writing, hands down. Because everything else, your voice stuff can be worked on. You can practice different things. The audio editing clears up a lot of things and covers a lot of sins, but yeah, the writing is really where it starts. And so I strongly recommend that. And now I'm like way off track. I need to scroll back up. Sorry about that. I really got off. Dubs are better than subs. Changed my mind. Honestly, I don't understand the whole dubs versus subs thing. Like, whatever you like, do that. If you like watching anime dubbed or subbed, do that. It's worth it. As long as you're enjoying it. There's no judgment. Definitely no judgment. Let's see, where was I? What am I watching right now? What am I watching right now for anime? A lot of shows just recently went on hiatus, so I'm watching a garbage Otomi show called, I think it's called Mr. Love, Queen's Choice or something. It's based on an absolutely garbage Otomi game that was like a mobile game that I played briefly last year before I realized it was just made entirely of microtransactions. And it's terrible, but because I played the game, I feel like I should watch the show. Season 3 of teen romantic comedy Snafu. There's not a lot on right now. I'll go back and watch some things, like on Crunchyroll or Funimation, but let's see what else. What do I think of the Cherry Blossom event in League? I don't have a strong opinion about the Cherry Blossom event in League. I literally log in, play ARAMs, and log out. Like, I don't really pay attention to the events or any of the season stuff, the ranking stuff, any of that stuff. I play D&D. I do not play D&D. It's one of those things I've kind of toyed with. My brother, I think, is a dungeon master for a local group. But I just never... It's one of those things I feel like I'd probably really enjoy, but that would mean that's all I would have time to do, because I know these campaigns take hours, and I rarely have that kind of time, and I don't want to disappoint myself or anybody else by getting into something I can't stick with. So I consider it a Mafia series. That might be fun. I really haven't touched on the early 20th century. Maybe I should look into that. One moment, Diet Coke. Okay. Would you say you're good at playing games? I would never say I'm good at playing games. Let's see. Any chance on past or present stream being saved on main or another channel? The game streams, you mean? Or, I mean, the live streams I'm doing now are always saved here. They're saved to my channel. You can watch the VODs. They're in there with the rest of my audios. They're just mixed in. My Twitch stuff right now, the VODs are all over on It's Fluxy at Twitch. When I start doing my own streaming there, I will also archive those. So yeah, they'll all be available. And right now they all are, as far as I know. An audio about being LGBT. Yeah, it's another one that I've thought about. I've got a lot of people in my life that are LGBT, and I've actually done a lot of outreach along those lines. I'm not personally, I don't really consider myself LGBT. I mean, again, everything's a spectrum, but I mostly consider myself cishet, so I don't necessarily feel like I could play that role. But I could play the role of somebody who is being supportive, so maybe I will look into doing that. Would I have any advice for someone who's going to start a similar channel? Yeah, again, the writing. The writing is absolutely the most important thing. And then, get a setup you like. Experiment with different equipment and stuff like that. Like, whatever makes you comfortable, whatever makes it possible for you to do what you want to do. Are you an Arsenal supporter, or are you too American? There's a lot of American Arsenal supporters. It's almost funny. I mean, I don't have a strong feeling about most of the teams. I like Liverpool, I guess, but... Have you heard the tragedy of turf play? So do you have a dog? Would you say you prefer dogs to cats? I mean, traditionally I have, because I'm allergic to cats. And so is my dad, and so is my brother. So growing up, we just didn't have cats around. But I have a cat now that adopted me. He mostly hangs out outside, but he comes in on occasion to enjoy the air conditioning and just kind of chill. I feed him. I take him to the vet, get him his shots and stuff like that. So he's, I guess, mine. But it was not my choice. But he, I spent a long time working with him until he was comfortable enough to let me carry him around and stuff like that. So I do that. And I think he was somebody's pet that they left behind. I think they moved and left him because he was already fixed when he showed up on my porch demanding dinner. So I mean, cats are kind of assholes, and that's just how they are. That's just their personality. I mean, he taunts the dogs. He has a good old time making himself at home. But he's sweet. And, I mean, I know he acts like he just tolerates. The cats are the biggest soons. That's all it is. Like, I know he likes me even if he does that. No, like, no, you do. I know you love me, cat. Have you had any unique ideas for how to put a spin on traditional storytelling? I mean, that's kind of what I try to do now. I try to take, like I said, with the vampire thing, like instead of a traditional scary vampire or sexy vampire, it's just hey, this vampire's got a job and she has to go to work. And And there's people out there that don't like her, and there's issues with the supply chain on the blood and stuff like that. And there's political stuff going on, and almost religious, cultish stuff going on. And, you know, it's a real world scenario. And that is my twist. My twist on traditional storytelling is to put things into a mundane setting and just let them unspool and see what happens. And a lot of times it kind of writes itself. Like if you pick up a piece, you know, pick up a character that you like and just set it like the house dragon thing, which I know is a joke in that first live stream we did, but boy, did that end up being kind of a cool idea. And okay, I picked up a dragon the size of a dog. What would that be like if you're trying to explain how to take care of this dragon? Like, well, it would just be like any other pet, only it's a dragon. And this one has to go breathe fire sometimes and stuff like that. So, I mean, there's a lot of very normal real world parameters that could apply to mythological creatures. And when you do that, it makes it kind of fun. How would you talk to a guy that has immense trust issues towards women when it comes to relationships? I mean, I've known people like that have trust issues from the past. Obviously, like, if people recognize that they have issues with stuff like that, like, I know I've got issues with certain things. I have issues with, like, feeling guilty about things that I haven't done or blaming myself for things. Like, if anybody around me is struggling, I feel like it's my fault on some level, or, you know, that I am somehow a burden to the people around me if I don't do enough to entertain or to comfort or to, and this has nothing to do with the audio, it's just real life, but that's probably why I'm so good at this, is that if I don't contribute enough to the people around me, then I am not valuable enough to be around people, or that I am a burden to those people. And I realize how messed up that is, and I can tell myself that in a logical sense. And I do, you know, occasionally speak to a therapist who's helped me a lot with recognizing that, you know, I have value independently of what I can do for other people, and that I have value not for what I do and what I produce, but just because I exist, and that's okay. But it is a matter of work. I can recognize this in myself and still struggle with it. Like, I can sit there and go, I know this is a problem I have, but it could still be a struggle because the emotional side of it doesn't really want to listen to the logical side, and I get that. And the same goes for somebody with trust issues. Like, you can recognize I have this issue, but it's still an issue. The good thing is if you recognize that issue, then you can work on it. And so, I mean, I would strongly suggest talking to experts, talking to a good therapist that you feel comfortable with, and letting them just sort of, you know, help you work through stuff. I mean, I can't be that therapist because I'm not a therapist, but as far as doing an audio about something like that, I mean, it's one of those things that unless I'm playing the role of the therapist, it's not... I don't like putting my characters in a place where somebody has to fix the other, if that makes any sense. Like, the comfort that I offer in my audios, I try to do it in the context of an otherwise healthy relationship. Like, it's a good relationship, it's healthy. Maybe one person's had a bad day, one person's had a rough week, one person can't sleep, you know, or is having an anxiety attack, things like that. But that's not a fundamental issue that underlies and sabotages the relationship on a level that's further than just a night or a week or something like that. For those fundamental issues, it feels like in order to be healthy in a relationship, that's something that we each individually have to own and do our best to be healthy in that relationship. I mean, it's not anybody else's job to fix me. Like, with my issues feeling like a burden or feeling like I need to do enough for other people, that's not anybody else's job to fix that in me. That's my job. And it's not my job to fix anybody else either. And I feel like at any given moment, if we want to be in healthy relationships, you know, that's something that we have to do the work to do. And that's something that I do try to do the work to do with all my relationships in my life, you know, friends, family, everything, is that I work to be the best version of myself and to see my own flaws and my own hang-ups and try to work past them and recognize that sometimes I can't do it alone and I need help from somebody who's a professional and qualified to help me. But I'm not going to put that on the people around me. I'm not going to make them fix me. That's not fair. And, you know, that's just how I see it. So, I mean, if somebody's got severe trust issues and they recognize that about themselves, great. Please talk to a therapist about that and definitely keep working on that. But I would never expect a partner to carry that burden. I mean, obviously some partners to a point will help. I mean, if I was with somebody that was struggling with something, I would of course want to help them and want to help carry their burden because that's what it means to care for somebody. But it wouldn't be my responsibility to do that. I would just want to. And in exchange, you know, they would help me, and that's the give and take of a relationship. But it's not dumping all of your emotional load on somebody else and being like, fix me. Like, no, we all have to work on ourselves. And if you're working on yourself with somebody else, hey, that's great. More is the better. But in the end, you know, you're responsible for yourself and the health of the relationship together. So that was a lot of words. I apologize. Super chats, yes. F's in the chat for Ree. Oh no, what did I do? Did I do something? 3 therapists already gave up on me. I'm so sorry, M3 Red GT. Believe it or not, it is hard to find a good therapist fit. Like, it really is. I wouldn't give up, but it is really hard because sometimes, I mean, therapists are just people too. And depending on where they learned what they know and what angle they take. Like, for example, I tried, you know, a couple of different therapists, and one seemed to take a very religious aspect. She wanted me to pray with her, and that's not something I'm comfortable with. So it was not a good fit. And that's, you know, there's nothing necessarily wrong with that. Some people would be great with that and comfortable with that. I am not one of those people. So, you know, I mean, everybody's different. Every fit is different, and you need to have chemistry with your therapist just like you do with anybody else. It is a relationship. I mean, it's a relationship with somebody who's trying to help you be a better version of yourself. And that's a challenge. So it's not going to be an easy fit. So, but I'm just, you know, saying that I would never give up. You know, there's bound to be somebody out there that would make you feel comfortable talking to them and would be comfortable helping you through whatever. Sion, thank you for the sticker, man. That's adorable. Those corgi ones are awesome. Those are the best stickers. Okay, let's pick this back up again because I got off track. I really did. Man, I got so far off track. This is going long too. I was hoping to cut this right about now. So let's try and wrap this up as quickly as possible because I know it's hard to stop, but man, there's just so much I want to talk about with you guys. What else have you written other than your audios? Oh, you know, I mean, over the course of my life, I wrote short stories and poems and stuff like that. Nothing that's ever going to see the light of day. I'm not planning on doing a werewolf ASMR right now. I haven't done a lot of tabletop gaming, no. I like things like Munchkin and Unspeakable Words and stuff like that. That's about as close to tabletop gaming as I'll do. Pantheon or Yasuo? Pantheon? That boy is dummy thick. Recently wanted to incorporate very different philosophical standpoints into characters. Imagine a story of mine for months, though. Yeah, if you've got 2 very different philosophical standpoints, you're not going to combine it seamlessly. You just have to combine it and see how it goes. I mean, seamless is a stretch for most things, so... I thought this was going to be another League stream. No. I streamed plenty of League lately. Have I seen any noticeable changes in myself since I started the channel? I mean, maybe a little more, like, I'm a little busier. I've got a lot more to do. But personality-wise, I think I'm the same person. Is it hard to find the time to work on my vids? It depends. I mean, I've got a job, a day job. I've got, you know, family. I've got the pets to take care of, stuff like that. So and sometimes it can be hard, but I make the time. I find ways to make the time. And so far, it's not too much of a challenge. How long am I planning on streaming? Yeah, I'm going to try and wrap this up here pretty soon because I know it's been a long stream already. The most rewarding part of working on the channel is definitely when somebody says that something I've done has helped them in some way, brought them some comfort or made them happy or helped them sleep, something like that. Like that, there's really no way to put words to how that feels. It's such an amazing feeling to know that I can do a little bit of good for somebody. So, let's see. Yeah, that therapist is an asshole. That was an amazing monologue. I apologize for the ramble. I do that. I know I do that. This is one of the reasons why making an audio channel, looking back, should have been an obvious choice for me because I talk all the time. Okay. What else? Oh, another sticker. Thank you. Thank you, Chris Audios. Thank you. I appreciate it. I love those corgis. Ugh, so cute. A guardian angel. Yeah, it's not an angel that's coming on Monday, but you're getting warmer. I'll leave it at that. Aw. I remind you of a guardian angel. Thank you. Thank you for the super chat. I'm glad I remind you of an angel. That's very sweet. Have I seen Pantheon's quads? Who hasn't seen Pantheon's quads? Good Lord. I probably will not be sharing any of my short stories. They are the garbage. Such the garbage. Why was this in my recommended? Who are you? I'm just a voice on the internet. Pay me no mind. Yeah. Okay. Oh. Thank you for the super chat on feeling like a furry, apparently. I do not have a corgi. It's just the stickers people are doing are corgi stickers. I do not have a corgi. So, yeah, it's okay. That's not really a spoiler, buddy. Monday. It's not. I doubt anybody's going to guess what that one is, so don't worry about it. Plus, Monday's pretty close. Okay. Wow. Holy moly, guys. That 90 minutes went really fast. You guys had such great questions. I love doing these with you guys because every time there's so many great questions and new people that I haven't had a chance to talk to before. So I appreciate that. I appreciate you guys coming out and hanging with me. I feel like we had a pretty good turnout to just sit and chill and talk and say thank you. Thank you so much for all the subscribers and likes, comments, all of it. And thank you especially to my patrons. I know a lot of you guys are there participating right now, and I appreciate you so much. And yeah, so I can't say enough good things about this community. This has been such an amazing community. Scott, Scott with the last minute super chat. Thank you. I'm glad you appreciate the vids. That's so kind of you. If you want to leave suggestions, feel free to do it in the comments of this or any other audio, but the more recent ones I'm more likely to see. Make suggestions anytime, or you can email me. My email address is in my about. And yeah, I appreciate you guys. I thank you so much. I'm so happy to have done this. And thank you, Arrestor27 for the super chat. Thank you very much for your stories. Oh, I'm glad they help. I really am. Yes, Sam, you're here. If it's not you, it's somebody using your account, and you should probably look into that. Okay. Thank you again, and I'll probably talk to you again at 20,000. So